I've just made an interesting equipment change that's improved my scoring. The piece of kit I've changed is probably something that's overlooked by most golfers. So what have I changed? And why do I think it might help your scoring? Let's go find out. So last week I changed the grips on my golf club to a brand new Golf Pride product, and I've noticed some really interesting changes in my game since I've done this. So this is the new Align Max grip from Golf Pride, and as you've probably guessed, it's a new variation on their Align product. So the big feature is this Align system down the back, which we can see in the red here. Now this is 25% more raised than we see with the Align product. So this red section is much more defined, raised up off the surface of the rest of the grip, just so you can feel it more when you grip the golf club. It's also longer than we've seen in previous Align versions, which means if you're hitting different shots, you want to maybe grip up or grip down the club, the line runs long enough that you can still do that and feel that ridge on the back of the grip. Now I've never used an Align grip before. I've very much been a Tour Velvet. I want the smooth grip all the way around, same feeling on every side. And to be honest, I hadn't really thought about switching or really thought about the benefits and what I was missing out on, which is why it's been really interesting to put this on all my clubs and see how it differs from the other options that I've had before. Now if you're a subscriber or follower of the channel, you know my bad shot goes left. And it's something we've been struggling with for a while. And for me, most of that comes down to club face. I can get the club face very shut. Some which comes from just having a really strong grip, but some which comes from like setting the club face in the wrong place during the swing. Now, why is this relevant to this grip change, and why has this grip helped me improve my performance? Well, it's really all just about face awareness and how like using this line on the grip has helped me with my performance. So when I'm on the driving range practicing, I like to put a stick down to help me kind of align to the target, make sure I'm aiming in the right place so I don't have to like worry about my aim and I can just focus on my golf swing. So I'd have it down on the ground like this. Now in this position I can get the club face really shut, which obviously once it's shut for the rest of the swing, you've then got a problem. The golf ball's going left unless you seriously like balance some other stuff out in your swing and make adjustments to stop that. What's been really interesting here is having the ability to use that line on the back of the grip and then match it up to this stick on the ground. And I know that sounds really simple, but it's just something I've never ever thought about doing before. For me, I've always been thinking about the actual face of the club and like how it sits, and it's so far away, sometimes that can be a hard thing to do and to be aware of what the angle is doing. We're actually coming back and using this line on the grip and feeling that it's in that position there, and also when I come back down that it's in that position and it's much more square, has actually really helped me in terms of helping my awareness, but also hitting my golf shots a lot straighter. Like this has translated very quickly onto the golf course, which really surprised me because that left shot has been haunting me for years, and honestly I would say this is easily like 50% better within like 3 days of using these grips, which is not something I can say for basically any other golf product I've tested in like the last few years, because I've been trying to get rid of this left miss for a while and it's not happened. So I think this kind of goes to show you why some of those little equipment tweaks in your bag you shouldn't forget about or overlook. And actually the grip is our only connection to the club. So it's so important in terms of setting the swing up in the right position at the start, but also keeping it neutral. So maybe learn from my lesson here and think a little bit more about your grip choices. We're going to head out on the course, hit a few shots with this, show you how well it's been working, but also just talk through different grip choices you could be making to maybe alleviate certain shots and help you out with your game. So it's really obvious here when you're gripping this that the spine is there. It's very prominent in the fingers, and I think that really helps in terms of that alignment. Another thing I feel like it's helped me with is making sure my left hand doesn't get too strong and over here, because you can kind of feel that you're not centered on where that line is and it wants to pull you back around. So if you're someone who's like really strong or really weak, it could definitely give you better awareness of where your hands should be, or the fact that your hands are just not quite in the right place. Straight down the middle of the fairway. we just love to see it. While you're here, I would really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. I'm on a big push to hit 20,000 subscribers right now, and it would mean the world to me if you could join the crew. So please hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, you might as well drop this video a like and give us a comment about what else you want to see on the channel. So this grip comes in MMC or an MMC +4 option, and the difference being the width at the base of the grip. So the MMC has a typical grip profile where we got wider at the top and then it tapers down. The same is still true of the +4, but on the right hand, so the bottom part of the grip, it's made as if it has 4 layers of tape underneath it, which means it's a little bit wider. Now the reason for this is it's designed for people who have kind of a really overactive right hand, so if you turn the club over quite a lot through the shot and then you bliss it to the left because of that, this can really help out in terms of just slowing that right hand down, stopping it doing as much so you can start your shot straighter. Now I've just gone for the standard MMC, and you might be thinking, Hannah, you hit it left. Why have you done that? Surely you should have gone for the other option. And it's because actually my left shot comes from like getting shut too quickly in the backswing and then keeping it there. It's not from like releasing it too much through the ball. So it's important to know what your swing characteristics are and where it is that's causing kind of a left shot before you necessarily move into a certain product that's going to fix it. Now these come in a standard and a mid-size option in terms of size, the standard being a little bit smaller than the mid-size, and it's really important to get the correct size grip for your hand because that's going to totally influence one, how you hold the club, but also how you release it through the golf ball. Generally you can kind of relate this to your glove size. So for me, I use a women's small glove, so I generally fit into an undersized grip. I have gone standard in these and just stretched them a tiny little bit, and that kind of gives you that undersized feel. But I would say overall these probably feel quite slim for a standard grip, so if you're someone who wants to go for something a bit smaller, you feel like you need undersized, I don't think these are far off. Now typically you would see with someone, if they're missing the ball out to the right a lot, they might be using a grip that's too big because it's just not allowing them to rotate the hands through the shot. On the opposite side, if you're using a grip that's too small, you might be seeing shots going over to the left. So another one of those little things to just make sure is right if you want to hit more straight shots out on the golf course. Dim left of the pin, let the wind bring it back. Just stuck that to 6 foot, we like that. Now another big thing to think about in terms of grips is the durability and how often you change your grips, because I think most of us aren't changing them as often as we should do. Now you can tell when you've overused your grips, they just go kind of shiny, they feel sleek, you can't feel that like texture and grip to them and like there's a resistance there. And if we lose that, how do we expect to like hold the club properly and hit the right positions and kind of keep the club face square if there's just no resistance on the hand, if there's just no resistance with the hands and the grip? So really you should be changing your grips at least once a year. If you're someone who plays often, like over 40 rounds a year, you should be changing them even more than that. Tour pros are literally changing their grip once a month. They know it's important. We should definitely probably take some note of that. But to help us out with this, Golf Pride have actually gone for a slightly firmer rubber compound in this grip, so it's just going to give you a little bit extra durability, hopefully help this last a little bit longer. I do think you can tell, I think it feels a little bit firmer than my Tour Velvets that I'd used before. And again, you need to think about what feel you like when you're picking a grip. It's also worth noting the feel can change if you're adding tape under the grip. So when you're adding extra layers of tape on the shaft underneath the grip, it's going to stretch the grip a little bit, it's going to make it feel a little bit firmer. So if you're someone who likes a grip that feels slightly softer, maybe worth sizing up rather than using extra tape. And also just think about the different grip options available. If you do want something that's a little bit softer under the hands, maybe you have like wrist or hand injuries and you want something that's just a little bit more responsive to that, then I tend to lean more to something like the CPX from Golf Pride, which definitely has a lot softer feel in the hands. Now overall I have to say I've been really impressed with these new grips from Golf Pride. When I first got sent them through I was like, what am I going to do on a grip for a video, because it didn't necessarily seem like something that might change my game a lot, but actually I've kind of proved myself wrong there, which tells you why you should always be open to trying everything out. I just feel like it's made my game so much more consistent. Like, I've definitely been starting the ball more online, which is something that I really know I need to improve and I've been really trying to work on. I just think having that alignment aid there has maybe just increased my awareness more than anything, made you think about it consciously every time you address the ball, because it feels different. And it's definitely helping what I'm doing, because I mean the ball's going way straighter, which is very nice. So if you're someone who's trying to work on your grip, you've got things you want to change, or you're just generally trying to hit it straighter, work on that face awareness. I would definitely recommend giving these a try. I really enjoy testing these out and think these are going to stay on my golf clubs for the foreseeable.